Hello, I'm Rachel, the Messy Minimalist, and today we are outside for another beautiful day. We're going to do a video today that is all about getting into our garden sheds. Apparently my garden shed is infested with bees and flies. We'll see how this goes. It's springtime. This is the season that everybody is so excited about. Some people, it's their favorite season. I, for one, love spring. Spring is so awesome, but for me anyway, not awesome for the typical reasons. I don't love spring because of the flowers. I don't love spring because, why do people like spring? I don't actually like spring for any other reason than it is so hopeful. For us, we come out of a pretty long, cold winter. We're down in the zeros, the negatives. It's just cold and blistery here during the winter. So as we're coming out of winter, spring makes an appearance and it's so full of hope. Just having a couple days of sunshine, it's like we'll even have a 40-degree day and we're all like, woohoo! So spring is so hopeful. Some people think oh, spring cleaning, and they get so excited to get in their house and clean. I just want to get outside, and the first thing that we want to do is we clean out our garden beds, we rake them, just unearth stuff, kind of see what we have growing, plant new bulbs if we need to, and then what I find, to be a little bit exciting is we put out decorations. So for anybody who doesn't know, we have a motel here, and it is a place where people come to really enjoy nature. So this is a place that's so full of nature, and we just really like to do the best that we can to work on our gardens and to put cool stuff and unique stuff out in our garden beds just to kind of add a little bit of character here. As I've said before, when I was going through my garage, I just hoard onto these items, and the longer that I have them and the more that I, use them, the harder it is to let them go. Not because I don't want to let them go, but because I'm so used to having them in my everyday life, you just get used to it. That brings me to my lesson of today and what this whole video is about. Today's lesson that I'm going to hopefully be learning for myself is just because you have items doesn't mean you need those items. Just because you're used to seeing them doesn't mean you have to have them. It's similar to clutter blindness. I find that the whole idea of clutter blindness, which was a video that I did several weeks ago, it just keeps on coming back up, and I find that this is something that follows me no matter where I go and sort of what areas of my house I tackle. If you're used to seeing something, it's like it's not even there. Sometimes we don't even think about the item. This is where this goes. So it's really important, I think, to take everything and to reassess if it's actually something that we love and want. Would you buy it again? I think that's a huge thing. And in fact, I probably just heard somebody talk about that on some podcast. Might have been the Minimalists, actually. But, something that they've talked about and then that I think about often is, would I buy it again? Whether it's at full price or even at thrift store prices, would I buy this thing? And if I wouldn't buy it again, then chances are I don't really want it. I don't really need it. So that's kind of the mental game that I'm playing, is as I look through some of these things, would I buy them again? Yes or no? If it's yes, then okay, let's go put this out. I'm gonna step back because the sun is getting super bright. Specifically, this is all relating to my garden shed. Just some backstory. I grew up around gardens and gardening, and it was just always part of my life. As a kid, when I was outside, my mother was always out there weeding and digging and saving seeds and making new gardens, and it was just a really cool thing. And I can say that I unfortunately didn't just inherit a green thumb from her. It's taken me a really long time to get better at gardening and just to keep plants alive. So it's definitely something that I'm still working on, but I'm better now than I've ever been. I think that's part of it, is if you love something, you just can continue to find time to do it and get better at it. Anyway, that's part of why today, and in this hopeful spring day specifically, we're going to dig into my garden shed, see what I can find, and I'm telling you, this thing is such a pigsty. I don't want it to just be a big trashy shed. I want this to be a nice clean space that we can use for other gardening things. I'm never going to have a new shed if I don't get the stuff out. I just know that's a thing. Every year, if I just continue with the same cycle that I'm on, where I just take everything out, throw it into the gardens, when winter comes, throw it back in the shed, I'm just going to be the same messy person that I've always been. I'm determined to go through every single item in there. Would I buy this again? Yes. Keep. No. Donate. Pitch. Whatever. I plan to get rid of half the stuff in there. Let's get into that garden shed now. Okay, so this is my garden shed. It's just a disaster. I know it is. And like everything in my life, it's just one step at a time, and all we can do is imagine what it could be and work towards getting it there. Like many of my other videos and parts of my house, I feel like these are all sort of the first step, which is just the decluttering of it. It's deciding what we love, what we don't like, what we need. It's deciding what needs to be in our life and what doesn't. That's the first thing that I'm going to do today, and then probably in the future I have got like so many ideas for what I want to do with this thing. Everything down from, you know, organizing it to paint and on the outside and just making it a nice cozy little shed that I want to use. First things first, let's start decluttering. I'm going to get as much of this stuff out as I can and we'll see if there's any gems in here. Starting to work up a little sweat here. I feel like this is probably a good time to stop and just talk about some of the stuff that I'm finding here. I've been kind of trying to categorize things as I pull them out of the shed just a little bit to make it easier for me when I go through them, but you know, there's like the obvious things that are just broken. That's the strange thing. Again, they're just these battles that you have, like just internal battles that maybe you guys get these too, and you look at an item and it's not just, why do I have this because it's ugly or because it's whatever the reason is, doesn't match my style. It's when you start hoarding on to broken things, you maybe have a little bit of a problem. You know, it's not to say there's not the kind of person out there who is determined to glue something back together and then they follow through and they do that. That's awesome. Good for you. I'm not that kind of person. A year later or two or however many, no, it's pointless and I'm never going to put it back together. I clearly didn't care about it enough to put it back together. If I really loved an item, then I would have just done it right away. I would have glued it on the spot. Case in point, little gnome man. I actually like gnomes. I think gnomes are just really cute and endearing, and you know what? Gnomes came back pretty recently, but I'm just gonna say I've been into gnomes for quite some time. I've had him for years and years. But as I was talking about the whole like broken thing, why put him back in the shed with unrealistic expectations of fixing him up when reality is he's served his time, he's clearly ready to go to gnome heaven, and I'm just gonna let him do that. Bye, gnome. Why was this taking up space? Ugh. So, if you've been following my journey, you will have seen in some other videos that I kind of have a thing for faces. I just think having faces are neat, and I think that there was a part of me the last decade that maybe went a little overboard with faces. I'll just show you. I probably saw something somewhere on Pinterest, Better Homes and Gardens, or some magazine, you know, I don't know what. So I'm the one with the creepy faces. I collect creepy faces. I'm almost sad to let them go. I really liked these. I'm gonna donate these. Maybe somebody else will want my Lady of the Garden faces. Oh, actually this one's kind of cute. Maybe I'll keep this one. Nothing says welcome like a nice tattered flag. I'm either missing something or this flag never wants to leave this hook. There we go. Perfectly good hook though. Here we go. There's nothing as patriotic as a tattered, faded, old American flag. I never want to be wasteful, so I end up storing this stuff because I feel like I need to get more use out of it. It's so faded and icky. I don't really want to display it. I shouldn't have even bought it to begin with. I'll have to figure out what the proper way to dispose of a flag is. I've got a whole nother pile of these. Another broken flag right here. What? Well, whatever. It's tattered, but I can't even pull it out of the space. So, just gotta cut our losses here. Ugh. It's an old school chair. It's been weathered so much, it's pretty much just rotted and gross. Trash. Here we go with my fake flowers again. I think that this was a backlash of me having a black thumb years ago. I couldn't grow flowers. They look real though, huh? Alright. Let me get through some more of this stuff. holds a pot. This is the kind of stuff that I like to keep in my garden. I don't even remember this. It's like a skeletal cat. No. Even aside from the ear being chipped, he's still scary. So it kind of looks like a Christmas tree, but I'm pretty sure it's a peacock tail. And I'm not really sure where the body of the peacock is, but I'm gonna let this one go. I think that we have gotten about as much stuff out of that shed as I'm gonna get out today. There's a lot of stuff in there. As you can see, I've got tons of lawn ornaments and garden stuff and pots and tables and crates and just stuff. Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm a messy person. I have a problem. I hoard onto things. That was something that I had said in my very first video that I shot before I even knew that I'd be continuing to do YouTube videos. It's still true. I don't even know what to say. I don't know if I'll ever be anything but what I am, which is just somebody who hoards onto stuff. But I'm definitely still gonna try, and I still feel motivated as I always do, which is just to, do our best, get rid of what doesn't bring me joy, get rid of what doesn't feel good, and move on with my life. There's definitely a lot more here that I didn't really get to show the camera. There's a lot. I'm just gonna kind of walk through and start setting aside the stuff that I'm gonna keep and the stuff that I'm not gonna keep. Now, mind you, because I realize my situation is a little bit different, we do have a business here and we have a lot of garden space. So, here we go. Let's see what I can get rid of. So we have our keep, our donate. And then this is just a bunch of garbage. All right, well, I'm officially done for the day. Feeling good about it. I am curious to know if you guys thought that I was gonna keep more or if I was gonna get rid of more, since even I didn't know what the outcome was gonna be. I will be spending the rest of my weekend working on placing this stuff, and if it turns out that there's something that I can't find a home for, then I'm gonna add it to my donate pile. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that if you've got some warm spring days, you are also out there going through your garden sheds, figuring out what you love, what you don't love, what you want to display, and remembering that just because you have it doesn't mean you need it. It's always good for us to come back and look at something with fresh eyes. Would I buy it again? And if you wouldn't buy it again, then, well, I'm not going to tell you to get rid of it, but you know what I'm saying. Thank you again for watching. I had fun today. I hope you had fun too. And as always, I hope you guys are feeling motivated to get into your own projects. If you have any comments about what I kept, what I didn't keep, just really anything at all, I would love to hear. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.